Have you ever noticed that right before something life-changing happens, your world seems to turn upside down? Carl Jang once suggested that the unconscious communicates with us through signs, symbols, and experiences that seem almost too meaningful to be coincidence. Psychology teaches us that these moments are not random. They are signals from the deeper layers of the mind and the universe itself. What feels like chaos, restlessness, or even darkness is often the psyche's way of preparing you for transformation. And if you learn to pay attention, you'll realize that these whispers are guiding you to the very breakthrough you've been waiting for. There are moments in life when we feel as though nothing is moving, as if the world has gone silent, and our prayers have vanished into the void. Yet, what most do not realize is that right before something extraordinary takes place, life doesn't shout its arrival, it whispers. The signs are rarely dramatic, rarely obvious. They come in subtle ways, in moments you might almost dismiss. A chance encounter with someone who speaks words that strike straight into your soul. A dream that lingers longer than usual. A repeated number that catches your attention, or even a sudden thought that seems to carry more weight than the rest. These are not accidents. They are the first drops of rain before the storm of transformation. You see, the psyche knows more than what we consciously perceive. The deeper part of you is connected to a greater intelligence, and it sends signals long before the rational mind can make sense of them. These signals show up in what some would call coincidence, but they are far from random. They are threads weaving the fabric of what is about to unfold. But here is the challenge. Most people ignore them. They brush them aside, caught up in the noise of daily life, waiting for something loud and undeniable to wake them up. Yet the greatest shifts rarely announce themselves with trumpets. They arrive gently, like a whisper at the edge of your awareness. There is a reason for this subtlety. If the signs came too clearly, too forcefully, you would not have to engage your intuition. You would not have to lean into trust. It is in learning to pay attention to the quiet, to the fragile and easily overlooked, that your spirit grows sensitive to the deeper rhythm of life. The whisper is the training ground for faith. It teaches you to see beyond the surface, to feel into the unseen currents guiding you forward. The very fact that you are noticing these little sparks is itself proof that something is stirring beneath the surface, something waiting to emerge into form. Think about it. How often has a conversation, a book, or even a song reached you at exactly the right moment? You might dismiss it as nothing, but in truth, those are signals that you are aligning with a larger pattern. The subtlety is intentional, because if you are not ready, you will overlook it, and if you are ready, you will recognize it. That recognition is not just observation, it is participation. By acknowledging these signs, by saying to yourself, I see this, I feel this, you affirm your readiness, and life responds by opening the path a little wider. And yet, these signs are not always comfortable. Sometimes the whisper comes as a restlessness you cannot explain, a sudden dissatisfaction with things you once tolerated. It can arrive as an urge to change, to step away, to move towards something unknown. These too are signs that the old is dissolving to make space for the new. It is not always pleasant, because transformation rarely is. But the discomfort is a message you are outgrowing what no longer fits, and the universe is calling you to pay attention. When you become attuned to these signs, you begin to realize that nothing in your life has been random. Every person, every encounter, every challenge has carried a message. Even the setbacks have been signposts, redirecting you when you would not have listened otherwise. The difficulty is not in the lack of signs, it is in our lack of awareness. We are too quick to demand proof, too impatient to wait, too distracted to listen. But if you slow down, if you quiet the noise of your mind, you will begin to notice that life is always speaking, always signaling the approach of what you have been waiting for. It is like walking through a forest before dawn. At first, the darkness feels endless, the silence heavy. But then you notice it. The faintest shift in the air, the the slightest hint of light at the horizon. The birds begin to stir, the wind carries a new freshness. These are small signs, almost invisible, yet they announce the inevitable: the sun is about to rise. In the same way, the signs before your breakthrough are not the grand arrival, but they are the whispers of the dawn approaching. So when you notice the repetition of symbols, when you feel that tug inside pulling you toward something you cannot yet define, do not dismiss it, pay attention. Honor it. These are the signals life sends to prepare you. They are the quiet confirmation that what you seek is already on its way. The whisper is not meant to overwhelm you, it is meant to awaken you. Listen closely, because what feels small and fragile today may be the very thing that changes everything tomorrow. There is a curious pattern in life that many overlook, yet it reveals itself again and again to those who are paying attention. Just before the most profound transformations, there often comes a period of heaviness, confusion, or even despair. It feels like the very ground beneath you is breaking apart, as though the life you once understood is dissolving before your eyes. And in truth, that is exactly what is happening. The old is being stripped away to make space for the new. The darkness that surrounds you is not the end. It is the threshold. It is no accident that so many describe their greatest breakthroughs as arriving after their most difficult battles. The human spirit is often refined in fire, and fire rarely feels gentle. It consumes what can no longer remain, leaving only what is essential, what is true. When you are in the midst of it, it feels as if life is against you, as if every door is shutting, every attempt collapsing. But seen from a greater perspective, these experiences are the contractions before birth. Something is pressing against you, not to destroy, but to deliver you into a new state of being. You might feel as though you are losing everything, yet what you are truly losing is illusion, false attachments, and the structures that no longer serve your growth. It is not uncommon to feel abandoned in these moments, to cry out for answers and hear nothing in return. But silence is also an answer. It is life asking you to go deeper, to find a strength within that you did not know you had. The silence forces you inward, and it is within that inner space that the new vision begins to form. Think of the seed buried in the earth. From the outside, it looks like darkness, isolation, even death. Yet within, something miraculous is happening. The shell is breaking open. The very thing that once protected it now has to shatter for growth to occur. If the seed resists, it remains trapped. But if it allows the breaking, it becomes the tree it was destined to be. The darkness before your dawn is this same process. What feels like breaking is actually birthing. And here is the paradox: most people turn away in that very moment. They interpret the struggle as a sign to give up, when in fact it is the clearest evidence that they are close to transformation. The weight, the pressure, the despair, they are not random cruelty. They are the final purification before the light arrives. If you were not ready, you would not be facing it. Life only places such intensity upon those who are capable of carrying what comes after. But I will not pretend it is easy. It tests every fiber of your being. You question your worth, your direction, even your reason for continuing. The mind screams that it is over, that there is no hope. Yet if you listen closely beneath that noise, there is a quieter voice, steady and unyielding, reminding you to hold on just a little longer. That voice is your spirit, and it knows what is coming. The truth is that dawn is always preceded by the darkest part of night. No matter how endless the darkness feels, it cannot resist the coming light. This is not philosophy, it is the law of existence. Cycles turn, seasons change, and what collapses is always followed by what rises. The challenge is to endure the night long enough to witness the sun rise. And when you finally do, you will look back at the darkness not as an enemy, but as a teacher. You will see how it stripped you of illusions, how it deepened your strength, how it prepared you for the very life you were meant to live. So when you feel as though everything is falling apart, when the weight of the world seems unbearable, remember this: you are not at the end. You are at the edge of transformation. The darkness is not here to destroy you, but to prepare you for the light that is already on its way. There comes a time when the harder you try to control everything, the more life resists you. You push and push, but the doors remain closed, and the weight of forcing your path becomes exhausting. It is only when you release that grip, when you allow yourself to step back and breathe, that things begin to move in ways you could not have imagined. The truth is, control is often an illusion. We hold on to it because it makes us feel safe, yet that very grip is what keeps us from experiencing the flow of what is already waiting for us. The need to control is rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of what might happen if we let go. But in trying to manage every detail, we close ourselves off from the infinite possibilities that exist beyond our limited perspective. Life cannot reveal its larger plan if we insist on dictating how it should unfold. And yet, once you stop fighting, once you allow the current to carry you, instead of thrashing against it, everything begins to align. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that there is a rhythm greater than your own effort, a flow that becomes visible only when you soften your need to control. Surrender is not about giving up. It is not passivity, nor is it resignation. Surrender is the art of trust. It is saying, I will do what I can, but I will not strangle the outcome with my fear. I will act, but I will also allow. There is power in that balance. When you let go of how you think it must happen, you make space for how it can happen. And often, life's way is far more beautiful, far more precise than anything you could have forced through sheer will. Consider the river. It flows with strength, but it never forces. It curves around obstacles, it shifts its path when needed, but it always finds its way to the sea. You never see the river panicking, never see it clinging to a rigid route. Its power lies in its trust of gravity, in its surrender to the greater pull. When you begin to live in this way, you too become unstoppable, not because you are controlling every detail, but because you are moving in harmony with the deeper current of life. Many times, breakthroughs arrive the moment you stop trying to chase them. Think of how often clarity comes when you finally stop overthinking, how inspiration arises when you step away, how solutions appear when you loosen your grip. The very act of surrender opens the channel for life to bring you what you have been seeking. This is why so many describe blessings arriving the moment they least expected, the moment they stopped demanding and started trusting. But the mind resists this truth. The ego insists, if I let go, everything will collapse. It believes control equals safety, yet control is...
The signal that comes before it all happens is never loud. It doesn't arrive with thunder or flashing lights. It's subtle, almost invisible, yet powerful enough to shift the course of a life. You feel it as a quiet nudge in the chest, a strange alignment of events, or a whisper in your mind telling you, pay attention. Carl Jang once said, life is not about waiting for the grand moment, it's about noticing the signals that guide us toward it. Every great change is born from a hint, a spark, a single vibration that stirs before the storm. But most people miss it because they expect the future to announce itself. It doesn't. It breathes softly in the present. Think of the moments when something inside told you to take a different path, make a call, or pause before moving forward. That was the signal. Small, but essential. When you listen, doors open. When you ignore it, regret often follows. The signal that comes before it all happens is already around you right now. Don't wait for tomorrow to reveal its truth. Tune in. Listen closely. Life speaks first in whispers, before it roars.